Call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of Mayor and Council for Monday, October 22nd, 2018. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silent prayer?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in Borough Hall, by email to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same as provided by law to the schedule, including the date and time of this meeting. I'd like to remind members of the public that we have 3 fire exits in the council chambers, 1 on each side of the dais and 1 in the rear. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Barloni?
Here.
Councilwoman Steve? Here. Councilman Canigo?
Here.
Councilwoman Davis? Present. Councilman Gaudier?
Here.
Councilman Papaleo?
Here.
And Mayor Mignon?
Present. Hope it works better.
Fair change.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please, for the approval of minutes for the Mayor and Council regular meeting of September 24th, 2018.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
I'm gonna abstain. Wait, that was the, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. That was the approval of the minutes?
Yes.
I didn't get the minutes.
It wasn't the last meeting. It was the meeting before that, in September. Not the October, no, we don't have the minutes
okay.
after October.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, those aren't done yet.
There are no proclamations or awards this evening. Motion open to the public for any item on the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody in the audience like to make a comment or ask a question on the agenda? Seeing no one, a motion to close.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Appointment of personnel changes. Motion, please, to approve the satisfactory completion of the probationary period and salary increase of Edwin Alter, Land Use Board Assessor Clerk, from the probationary rate of $16 to Step 1, $19.95, effective October 23rd, 2018.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the appointment of Seth Hanauer as a junior firefighter in the River Edge Volunteer Fire Department, effective October 23rd, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the satisfactory completion of the 6-month probationary period of Carolyn Baldanza, Director of Recreation and Cultural Affairs, effective November 1, 2018.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the salary increase of Christopher Leishman, road foreperson in the Department of Public Works, from a current salary of $89,981 to Superintendent of Public Works Step 1 salary of $121,825 due to serving out of classification, taking on responsibilities of the superintendent's position as per Section 2, Subject 8 of the Personnel Policy and Procedure Handbook, effective October 15, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the resignation of Jennifer Kellerman, Adult Services Librarian, effective October 31st, 2018.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the hire of Rebecca M. Karpoff as temporary Adult Services Librarian, $29.03 per hour, 3.5 hours per week, effective November 6, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A motion to approve the hire of Aaron E. Hughes as reference librarian, $29.03 per hour, up to 14 hours per month, effective November 10, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have various correspondence listed in our agenda that's available through the clerk office if anyone is interested in the specifics. We also have on file monthly reports from the Environmental Protection Commission for September, Fire Prevention July through September, Library Board for October, Star Commission September, Recreation Commission July, Tax Collector September, Beautification, no quorum in October, and Land Use Board for October 3rd, all in 2018. Ordinance, we have 3 ordinance is on for first reading tonight. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 1821 by title.
Ordinance 1821, an ordinance of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, authorizing the change of a street name in accordance with NJSA 40:67-1K.
And this is the ordinance to rename Riverside Way to John Q. Lynch Way.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I spoke to the mayor just a couple of minutes ago. Since this goes way back in history, the Riverside Way, because that's what we were known as, River Edge was Riverside. Or maybe that could be some way we could have you there, but we think Riverside Way to keep that.
I think that would be appropriate if that's effective. I
Just
would not
because I think
undo
some-
renaming it. I think I would
No, right.
subname it, and
Right.
if people want to keep that.
Put that underneath, and, not a lot of people know where Riverside Way are, but then again, there's some of the old timers that have the connotation that that's what we were named as, and that's what that was our town. So then we do add,
Well, no, this is just first reading. And that doesn't have, that's not already been part of the ordinance. The resolution. The motion to adopt ordinance 1821 on first reading. I'm sorry. Roll call.
Councilman Barloni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Steve? Yes. Councilman Kamigo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
yes.
Councilman Cordier?
Yes.
And Councilman Papalayo?
Yes.
The order is approved on first reading. There will be a public hearing at a later council meeting. Ordinance 18-22, read by title, please.
Ordinance 1822, an ordinance amending Article 2, Chapter 206, fees, and Chapter 268, licensing of the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, in the State of New Jersey.
Is there a motion on this?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just, for the information of the council, this was discussed at a recent Municipal Alliance Against Substance Abuse meeting, and there was full support.
I think it's a necessary and very well-crafted ordinance. It will benefit the community. Roll call, please.
Councilman Barloni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Steve?
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cordier?
Yes.
And Councilman Papalayo?
Yes.
Ordinance 1822 passes on first reading, and there will be a public hearing at a subsequent council meeting. Ordinance 18-23, please read by title.
Ordinance 18-23, a capital ordinance of the Borough of River Edge in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, authorizing the road resurfacing at various locations, Phase 4 in said borough, and appropriating the sum of $171,500 from Bergen County Community Development Grant Program funds to pay to the cost thereof.
And this is just to put the bonding in place for the CDBG grant we had received in the amount of $171,500 to finish up all the work that has been going on in the past few years at Oxford Terrace and Rutgers. Right? Oh. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 1823 by
So
title?
moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Barloni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Steve?
Yes.
Councilman Kamigo?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cordier?
Yes.
Councilman Papalayo?
Yes.
Ordinance 1823 passes on first reading, and there will be a public hearing and a subsequent council meeting. We have no ordinances on for second reading this evening. We have resolutions listed for consent, ordinance 18-314 up to 18-328. Would any member of council like to hold for separate consideration or discussion any of these resolutions?
I just have a couple questions. For 18-320, that's for the past services, what he's already done for the community center?
Well, I'm anticipating that Mr. Costello would roll above and beyond prior contract that he had for telephone,
Yeah, we discussed that
based
last
on,
week.
some of the plans that he provided to you for your last hearing.
And my other question was 18-322, the development of 335 Johnson Ave. I didn't know much about that. Anyone give me any insight into that?
It was an approved, plan by the planning board for the former spa property.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't have the details, but I'm sure we can get to the minutes from that meeting if you want to read about it. Basically, they took down the building where the old salon building is. They're putting up a larger two-story salon/office building. Any questions? Motion to adopt by consent.
Move.
All in favor? Look at your eyes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Bartoloni, our esteemed chairman of the Finance Committee, please read and move Resolution 18-329, payment of bills.
Thank you, Mayor. As whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by the 3 members of the Finance Committee, now therefore be it resolved that bills as listed now be confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $336,887.88. Capital account, $4,842. Trust other account, $10,076.07. Open space account, $557.57. Trust other developers account, $632.50. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion to open to the public for any topic. All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing nobody in the audience, please, can I have a motion to close the hearing of the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the council comments. Nothing go to you.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things I would like to discuss. At the library meeting that I went to, we had some concerns. I'm sure everyone's read in the newspaper that they've had some issues with the companies that have been transporting books back and forth between libraries. And currently, our library borrows about 40,000 books a year for some form of media. So what happened is the state had hired a company that just couldn't do the job, and then they rehired another company, and right now they're working on basically a 5 to 7 day lag on if you ordered a book from another library to actually get it in. As of June 30th, that is probably going to cease as well. So now what is happening is the Bergen County Cooperative Library System is probably going to hire their own employees, and their own, they're going to need, trucks, space to store the books, and whatnot. So if it's divided evenly, that's probably going to be about $9,000 per library if it was divided evenly. So just something to consider for next year's budget year. And in a society now where we expect 1 day delivery, it's that 5 to 7 days is definitely a lag.
I'm sure the library board will have that in their budget request.
Yes. I'd like to compliment Dario. I downloaded Cycle Coach, and it's been great. You get an alert where you have to put out the next day. That way I don't have to look at my neighbors and cheat. So that's been great. I attended the Stigma-Free event on Thursday, October 18th. It was a great event, and there was book discussion and a lot of input from the community, the Riverdale community. It was sponsored by both River Edge Stigma-Free and also Oregon. Thank you.
Councilman Bartoloni.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things, and I'll talk about it, and maybe Councilwoman Bastide wants to talk about it also. We've been working on this together. On November 15th at 7 p.m. At the River Edge Public Library, there's going to be a seminar or discussion in conjunction with the Bergen YMCA on stepping up to stop sexual violence. It's a panel discussion that we've been working to put together. So I hope everybody attends. It's interactive, and it goes over a wide range of topics that I think is pretty important. So that's the 15th at 7 o'clock, so hopefully everyone can attend. And please tell other people. The library, I think, is going to put out an email in that regard, and I've also been in some discussions with the Junior Women's Club to promote it as well. So
It's November 15th?
November 15th at 7 o'clock.
That's the League of the League.
I'm not going, so.
I can't go to sleep.
So,
No, I'm just,
No, but it is, yeah,
yeah.
Did you change, can I just ask a question? Did you change that? Because originally when you spoke to me, you were saying sexual violence against women. So you made it-
That's the name of the program, Stepping Up to Stop Sexual Violence. That's
I
what it's
didn't
called.
want to just,
No, I mean, I could go over some of the topics with you.
no, that's okay. I just, originally you had said women, and I thought that it should be more generic.
I mean, it also talks about, obviously, children, and men. And just so everybody knows, the discussion is centered just for adults. There's a separate program for children. We figured we'd see how this one did, and then we could look, there was need, this went well to do that separate type of programming. Just to follow up to the last meeting, I said the police have installed traffic counters on Elm and Tenney, so that will aid us in our efforts regarding the traffic study that we talked about. And I have downloaded, the chief downloaded the information from the traffic counter that's on Continental already, so we have that information also. And that's all I got.
No report this time, Mayor.
Councilman Christine?
I'm going to yield all your time to me. Tom's really just a couple programming notes. This Saturday is, just remind everyone, is National Take Back Day, the effort to encourage people to get rid of their unwanted prescription medication. Everyone knows we have a drop box in the lobby of the police department, but Saturday is a good reminder to clean out your medicine cabinets and get rid of your unwanted prescription meds. October 27th also is the Halloween Parade at 2:15. Lineup begins at Memorial Park. The Recreation Commission asked me to extend the invitation to the members of the council and the mayor to attend and take your usual spots to hand out candy to all the trick-or-treaters, so hopefully you can join us. The tree lighting has been scheduled for December 8th at 4 p.m. Recreation has just started promoting that this afternoon, so hopefully you'll all be in attendance, and they were looking for you to say some remarks. Environmental Protection Commission, they collected 3,000 pounds of debris in their river sweep on earlier this month from Oradell, River Edge, New Milford. They had about 75 participants. It was very well attended and very well organized, so thanks to our Environmental Protection Commission. 3,000 pounds is an awful lot of debris. We have qualified for our Trex bench. They collected over 700 pounds of plastic film. The Environmental Protection Commission would like to dedicate that bench to John Lynch, and they will be ordering a plaque. They're just looking for suggestions on where to place the bench. So I don't know whether the DPW has some thoughts about the bench that maybe needs to be replaced. I know the one out here in front of Borough Hall is a little rough, or if anybody else has a thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was putting in the date that you were giving me. Well, what is it you want me to follow up on?
The Environmental Protection Commission has achieved their goal of over 500 pounds of the plastic
Yes, I
film, the
heard
Trex
of
bench.
the Trex
So
bench.
they'd like to dedicate it to John Lynch, but they're looking for suggestions for where to locate the bench.
So you want
If
DPW
DPW recommend either replacing an existing bench, and then we will need shipping details on where that bench can be shipped to. So I would expect it could be shipped to the DPW.
It can.
Councilman Gautier mentioned it, but I want to recognize the efforts of the Stigma Free initiative here in River Edge and in Oradell. I think it's great they're working together. They had a huge turnout for this book club
what made Maddie run. You know, the mayor was there also, Joe was there. If anybody wants to borrow my copy, they're welcome to. They also had the first green out at the football game on Friday night where 200 green shirts were sold to the Riverdale student community, and it was fantastic, raising awareness about mental health.
How many shirts did you get?
200 shirts. They raised $2,000 for that, and it was very well attended because it was a Paramus game. So the county executive was there in his green shirt, and it was a nice event. The last thing I want to bring up is I would like to have our borough attorney prepare, with the consent of the council, prepare a resolution that will opt us out of participating in commercial businesses associated with cannabis in preparation for the state legislature voting on October 29th. I would also ask for his opinion. There is some consideration of having that resolution sunset either annually or every 2 years, so that if circumstances change among the members of this council or our community and it wants to be revisited, it would just sunset as opposed to having to be repealed. I think we have to be proactive before the legislature acts, or in preparation for the legislature to act, because they are intending to do so on October 29th.
So, is it, we could just by resolution or have to by ordinance?
Same thing you need to do by ordinance. I mean, I can prepare a memo, maybe you want discussion first, give me some time.
I think maybe we can draft one, circulate to the council, and, you know, they can have it listed for first reading at the next meeting, that's what the council likes, and then we can have the, because we're running out of meetings for the year, so we don't, even, you don't get it done now, you'd have to wait till January, so
I did think that, I read the last guidance from the league, and I thought that what it said was, in order to opt out, we just have to pass a resolution, but perhaps that's changed. Okay.
So you're not, there's nothing to opt out of right now?
No, we intend to opt out. It's coming very soon.
Yeah, so,
We intend to opt out.
because there's towns that are drafting ordinances prohibiting it, so we don't want to go that route.
Well, but how do you prohibit something that's going to be legal?
Dave, I agree with you there.
Right. So if you look at
There's a lot of towns that are doing it.
yes, if you look at the guidance from the league, it was very specific that there will be an opt-out clause, but in order for municipalities to take advantage of it, they have to pass a resolution banning any commercial businesses associated with cannabis sales.
My understanding, the last draft was the towns are going to have a period to opt out once it's drafted.
Okay.
So you can do it now, but you're opting out of something that's not in effect, so you may have to redo it.
Well, by the time we
By the
meet
time
again,
we meet again, the
it
legislature
might already,
is likely to
and I would imagine the governor's gonna sign it relatively, you know, shortly thereafter, so.
Pending right now?
Yes.
There's something pending?
The opt-out would be 180 days after, right?
After it's.
So that's 6 months that we'd have to.
But we have
be able to
very
discuss
few
it.
meetings
Yeah.
before the
I'll
end of
draft
the
it.
year.
If we need to redo it, in case we missed something because of the statute,
and I'd be interested if you maybe can include in your memo this issue about the zoning aspect of it, and whether, how they're justifying that, the language.
And a sunset provision.
Councilwoman Davis?
The Riverhead Fire Department, September, they had 28 alarms, and they also had a drill at a house on Lexington Drive that was scheduled for demolition. They're going to have a tri-borough drill hosted by Riverhead on Sunday, November 4th, at the new apartment complex, 230 Kingcomack Road, which I think is a great thing. There's going to be a presentation on the construction first, then a walkthrough of the building and the grounds, and then they're going to stretch lines on the street. So I think that that's a great thing that they're preparing for that. Before it's even completed. Yeah, the 4th. Yeah. The actual, the first part of it is the presentation is going to be at the fire department. So
to get down to the building will be probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock. River Ridge Ambulance, quite a bit of concern at the meeting, about the parking for the new community center. So after much discussion, I told them that we were having traffic, study done, and that, there was nothing to worry about right now.
I'm sorry, I was writing something.
They don't want.
You talking about the ambulance?
Yeah, they don't want those spots inside and nothing like that. And I said that, and I also explained to them, I really was under the gun, that came up that night from Mr. Costa, and, was not something that we had.
Well, I can comment more, and I've seen, Donna Sanders subsequent to that, and the intent is to maintain 6 spaces.
I said that.
So, the issue and what's gonna be the challenge, ultimately probably to the council, is we're not gonna be able to get everything we want. So, I think we're gonna have to balance, or they'll have to give us recommendations, balancing what's gonna promote good and safe circulation on the site, versus traffic impacts locally, versus addressing the pedestrian crossing issue we have. We have driveways on that side, that's not gonna be easy to mitigate that. So, right now, the traffic consultant, Costa Engineering, has come up with several scenarios, putting driveway on Continental, putting the library spaces, basically just block them out, and leave the entrance for them alone. Yeah, we looked at, Mr. Costa said he looked at doing it on site there, but that would be a more costly alternative, obviously. So, I'm expecting when the traffic engineer finishes his data collection, either, I think, he will review the options with Mr. Costa's office, and he'll pick the ones he thinks are the most viable, and then if he needs more input from the council, he'll find it.
Okay, Health Department, the board unanimously voted to recommend that to the mayor and council, the enactment for a fee for businesses selling vaping or electronic smoking devices, and I'm very happy to say that we have already had our attorney do the ordinance, so they was really that bad. SCORE, we've been, the mayor and council and the candidates running have been invited for lunch on November 5th to discuss vision for the borough and any accomplishments consecutive with it. And the farmers market ended on October 1st. We had not had it for 2 weeks prior because of rain, and the farmer notified us on September 30th that because of the tremendous amount of rain, his fall crops were ruined.
Yeah, they didn't have much good luck with the weather this summer.
Terrible.
We either had very, very hot days or we had rain, so.
I called down to the DPW and asked them to take down the 2 signs, and they did it within 24 hours. Unfortunately, it's getting bulletin in St. Peter's.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, the Historic Committee is meeting this Wednesday, and I know they've sent an email to you, Mr. Mayor, and myself regarding a meeting. I guess they want a meeting with the council to discuss the historic designation and how it fits into the master plan. To that end, I was just thinking that I'd invite them to the next meeting and they can come.
I don't even think that's necessary. They were informed. Anything they did prior to the adoption of the historic element, they have to redo.
So we send a letter. Okay.
Is this those 2 houses that they want to
But they'll have to redesignate, because all that was done prior to the adoption of the modification.
I think we've told them that before.
Yeah, maybe we were.
I keep getting the same emails.
No, but maybe they're not clear. That's
Okay.
fine.
I mean, I'll try to explain it to them again on Wednesday. We're working on the interlocal agreements with the school board. We hope to have something, or we plan to have something to present to the mayor and council for, I guess, review and commentary and perhaps approval at the next meeting. I know Rec is eager to get moving on some projects, so we are certainly going to make sure that this happens sooner rather than later. Also in anticipation, obviously, of snow coming and other reasons why we need these agreements and the sports and so forth. So I just wanted to say it out there that it's being worked on, we haven't forgotten it, and we expect to have something concrete by the next meeting. As Councilman Gautier pointed out, Recycle Coach is up and running. Thank you for the kudos, but I was just I just helped facilitate things. Certainly the program itself is a great program, and the Environmental Commission did a lot of work in reviewing and I guess beta testing it for us, so they should receive really the kudos. And everybody in Riverhead should just download it because it is great. And it gives you reminders. It's on your phone. And like Joe said, you don't have to go cheat by looking at your neighbor's stuff. River Edge Day, at the last meeting we didn't really get to say much because of other important things on the agenda, but River Edge Day obviously was a success. It's always nice to get up close and personal with the residents of River Edge and all the organizations. So I just want to thank the Rec Commission and our Rec Director for another great job. I mean, she is proving to be gold, and really it's going to be fantastic when she has a home of her own. I wanted to say during my rounds at River Edge Day, I was speaking to Michelle Caridi of Beautification. She pointed out that there wasn't a beautification table this year. The reason is that she's the only person doing any work for beautification. So if we want to continue to have a beautification committee, and she does such a great job, we need to figure out a way that we can get some volunteers, some people to help her out a little bit.
This actually goes back to the issue that we've been talking about for about 7 years, as long as I've been on the council, is if people don't show up to repetitive meetings, when should we develop an ordinance, and I think Tom has been consulted on this, should we develop an ordinance that says they should be removed? Because she calls meetings, I show up, Gary Esposito shows up, John Don Diego shows up, Greg Caridi shows up, Michelle shows up, and a couple other people, but then when it comes time to do the work, it's really just Michelle.
Yep. I mean, that's what I'm told, and I've seen her as I drive up and down the block, and she's out there working, and
I go
she's
back
alone.
and look at the ordinance issue, because at their request we went from 11 to 20-something members at one point, right?
Yeah, we increased the
the
number of members and decreased the quorum requirements, but if the number of members aren't, even though we added members, if they're not showing up to do the work, it's a...
And I believe state statute does let us set a policy of I think it's no less than 8 weeks or a certain number of meetings, where then you can have cause to have somebody removed. The question is what kind of process that would be. Is it technically like hearings? So they have, you have to bring them here, and unless we can figure out a way to do it administratively. I'm in favor of doing something like that, because it's not just that. Remember, I've
Also,
environmental commission has gotten revitalized, so I don't think there's been much of an issue as much.
No, it seems like they have quorum
So they
all the time.
so now it's only this
Green team then?
Green team probably. So
We should be looking at expiring terms for reorganization and asking.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Michelle out at 140 today. She was down there,
She's doing a great job.
bows, and
Yeah, but she needs help. I mean, I can see. I mean, it's wearing on her, and the idea that there wasn't a table this year at River Edge Day, it was just a little shocking. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm just pointing it out. Because,
She works hard. She sends out regular text messages and emails. I'm on all of them. But the difficulty is the response she gets is next to none.
I mean, if people in this town want a nice town, they want the flowers, they want the, puffs of,
She does in the way
and when they don't see it, then they'll be asking why.
yeah, well, then we'll get the, River Edge Council, the mayor and council are not doing anything about it. But, this is volunteer positions, and you need to volunteer, you need to put your time out there. It's,
No, and I appreciate Michelle's effort. It's terrible to be the only person doing all the work for the committee. it's not fair. But yeah, even the strongest person always gets worn down. We've seen this on other committees, so hopefully we can figure out a way to reorganize them or restructure them so it can be something that's workable.
One last thing, I just wanted to give a special thanks to our local State Farm insurance agents from River Edge Day. They were handing out bike helmets to children free of charge.
From Hackensack Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Anita has a hook with somebody down there, and it's the hospital, you know.
Yeah, and they had,
That was great.
they had
Yeah.
a lot of bike helmets, and they fitted the children,
They fitted
and
them,
they
yeah.
gave them for free, and,
Yeah, that was good.
you know, as an avid biker myself, I thought that was a fantastic thing, so certainly
Yeah.
kudos there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll just reiterate, the Sigma Free program was, I haven't described it, but this is very powerful,
yeah.
very thought-provoking. And I was so happy to see the attendance. We had, I think, over 50 people at one point. So hopefully this is the beginning of people getting aware of the programming that we're doing for that, and we'll get more and more people to come. And it'd be good if we can hold off this one and maybe have facilitate another similar group or something like that, just to keep the momentum going. Because you have a lot of interested people and other people who are willing to help. So I think it was a very excellent program. We touched on the community center. Hopefully, depending on the traffic counts, when he gets all the data, maybe we'll be ready for an update on the second meeting in November. And we'll see where we are at that point. I got a nice email from our emergency management coordinator, Ron Starace, and he had said he had just went down to DPW because I guess he had a lot of interaction with John Lynch, particularly during the fall and the winter storm season. And he said he met with Jason, Rich, and Chris. It was fantastic the way the three of them were working. Fantastic the way the department had been running with John's absence. And he was just complimenting it to me, but I thought it'd be nice to acknowledge that publicly because it's not easy again for them to step into that role and have three people trying to cover a job, and we appreciate it, and they're doing a fantastic job in handling the responsibilities. And the other thing, and I know Councilman Bastidas brought this up, but I've gotten two other residents asking me since then, this issue with dog barking, and how do we address it? We've said before, the noise ordinance is really not enforceable. It requires actual readings from a sound meter, certain decibel levels. It's just not enforced. From what I read, dog barking ordinances have generally been the same thing. They've had one ordinance, or typical kind of ordinance you'll see is they'll define incessant barking as something like continuously for 20 minutes and so many minutes out of an hour. And again, how is anybody going to document those things? I got in touch with this gentleman, his name at the moment, who's drafted a model ordinance, which I'm not saying we should adopt, but I think it maybe starts putting us in the right direction. It talks about how there should be a neighbor engagement. If that doesn't work, some towns are actually having mediation. Some of them are requiring proof that the dog is behavior trained or things like that. I've seen draconian ones where they impound dogs, which I don't think is something we would ever do here. But I think there's enough interest that's been brought to my attention, and obviously Councilman Bastidas had it too. So I'm thinking maybe we can refer to the Board of Health, and I can give them the information I have. Maybe they can look at it and see if there's any way we can modify existing ordinances.
Board of Health went down to that.
I know, but it's hard to
Right.
enforce
They
something.
ended up that they wanted prices that they didn't come up, and they did all the
Can we
paperwork.
just get a little background? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't want to be specific about the home.
I get a lot of, I'm sorry.
This particular, if we are going to look at that, we also may want to look at domesticated animals that are housed 24/7 outside of the home. If that's the
Yes.
situation we have. There's nothing on the book, there's no ordinance prohibiting that.
No teeth.
But I think it's time that we look at all that. And
So
basically
there's a
what
dog that's kept outside that's barking, keeping the neighbors up, is that
Yes.
basically the idea?
And it's happened in several different,
Carrying laws, ASPCA laws?
group was that it was not a health and welfare issue, it was determined.
You're saying 7 days a week all year?
Isn't there like
Even when
cruelty
it's
to
20
animals?
degrees out?
No, we've had the police go, we've had Board of Health go.
Yeah.
The health department went, what's his name, went.
There's certain dogs are,
Party went, everybody that was
yeah, they're
supposed to send.
okay with it.
Yeah.
And the facilities were
I mean, you see
Determined
dogs
to be-
in, I'm not saying I would,
health
my
risk
dog's inside,
for
sleeps in my bed.
But
So,
I think
so you're not,
somebody
you're
has
not
to
getting,
be-
you're not getting an argument with me on that, but I
And
mean, you do
also,
have
I
like
think if you
huskies
can-
and things like that,
you
or,
got-
you know, sled dogs.
if, they say if, again, in some of this ordinance language that he's proposing, if you had, say, 2 or 3 neighbors who complained about the same address, obviously that would give you a little more weight to do something. But as with any nuisance, it's, you know, I told her, if somebody sleeps nights, we've had this happen, and the generator goes off, then they're disturbed. Some people let their dogs out early in the morning, and then they may start barking to get back in, or whatever, and people get woken up. Other people, for whatever reason, the dogs are barking a lot. But like I said, it's come now 4 times up in this is 4 different areas of town, so it must be something that people are concerned about. So anyway, I would just ask if we could refer that to the Board of Health for future research and hopefully some guidance. You get it? Board of Health.
No, I mean, I went to them twice.
But I'm gonna give you, I want them to look at this further, based on the information I'll provide.
I mean, like anything else, I mean, if you hit them in the wallet, it's gonna stop, right?
But it's a matter of enforcement and how you.
Yeah, but like, let's say, and I'm just, you know, kind of thinking out loud here, but if a certain house gets called on, you know, several times, then you fine them. You know, and then when there's enough fines, they're
But
not
they
gonna.
say that barking is a natural characteristic of the dog. So it becomes, how do you define when it becomes a nuisance? That's where the issue is. That's where they try to quantify it. And there's been cases where people have lost it because of that, where they can't adhere to these almost arbitrary standards they put in, the 20-minute thing and things like that. So apparently it's a very complicated part of.
Then you probably run into more trouble with service dogs and things of that nature, because then they have further rights.
Yeah, I would think there may be better
better
control
behave,
now,
right?
but I think this will also tie into our general noise ordinance, because we've been talking about looking at that also, because that's not enforceable, and our court has said so.
Yeah.
So I think it's timely, and hopefully they can come up with some recommendations.
In,
Who's the health department?
Yes,
Who's the-
Board of Health.
For the noise?
Well, it's gonna be noise with and the dog. I think dogs ties in. A lot of the barking restrictions either fall under noise ordinances or under, if you have a separate animal control ordinance.
Well, they went down there twice.
I know, but there's nothing for them to enforce.
That's right.
So
So we
unless
need an
there's, unless,
ordinance.
Oh, we need guidance.
we
from
have an
someone.
ordinance,
need guidance from
but
the.
it's,
We need
we have an
guidance.
ordinance.
you need
how to
better
modify
ordinance.
it.
Our ordinance says you can't have, a habitually barking dog.
And
Define that.
In
so
the,
who would
That's
enforce
big.
that? Artie went down there too.
This is what our ordinance says. Prohibited acts: the keeping of animals or birds by causing frequent or long continued noise disturbs the comfort and repose of any person in the vicinity. Okay, that's what our ordinance says, so that's why we can't
So
do
can't
it.
that be enforced by the police
No,
department?
no.
Can't be
What is frequent
Too big.
or long continued?
It's
Yeah.
too big. There's just no sense.
Disturbs the comfort and repose, because there's language in other ordinances which we might want to consider.
in the,
Maybe Johanna would have some, maybe through her other municipalities, she wants what she's seen, other things.
Yeah, ask her network.
It's really nothing local, because I was referred to Westwood, another town, and they have that clock watching kind of ordinance. I think that's shown not to be effective or legal or enforceable, so.
Yeah, look at what other towns have, see if they have anything
Every other town has
that's
a,
covered.
his ordinance is boilerplate. Most borough ordinances
This is
are
our
boilerplate
boilerplate.
from one to another,
Yeah.
and most of them have that generic language, and then, like, the Westwood, Township of Washington, which is actually subject to a lawsuit over this, they say disturbing the peace, habitually bark, howl, or cry. I think that means, so.
The, Mayor,
Yes.
the 4 instances that were brought to your attention, were those all instances where the dogs are kenneled outside all day?
No.
No.
And this is what Emerson had, they say, for the purpose of the section, a noise disturbance from a barking dog shall be defined as that created by a dog barking continually for 10 minutes or intermittently for 30 minutes unless provoked. Again, so, it's gotta be other ways to look at this.
Sounds quite specific.
Westwood, continuous barking without pauses of 1 minute or longer for a period of no more than 20 minutes between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. or for a period of more than 10 minutes between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. on at least 2 occasions over a 3-month period. It's exactly what the ordinance says. So how do you ever even document that and how do you enforce it? So anyway, I think there's maybe some options we can look at, and it's time to look at it a little closer. That's it. Anyway, so I have nothing more to say. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. No problem.
Still.